This is insane as Connor McDavid and Team Canada make history once more by defeating the United States of America in overtime last night in Boston. All that more today on Oilers Digest as we finally have a preview for the Oilers as they take on the Philadelphia Flyers tomorrow afternoon, and we will get you set up for that one. But folks, we got to recap the game last night. But before that, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel already, make sure you do so. If you're part of the 23% that are subscribed to the channel, I'd like to thank each and every one of you for following us here on the journey so far with the channel. But if you haven't subscribed yet, folks, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for any and all Oiler news as the Four Nations is wrapped up. But we still have the trade deadline to follow on March 7th. But without further ado, the history-making moment for Connor McDavid last night with Connor. Yes, as Team Canada and the United States, of course, one of the most hotly anticipated matchups, not just, in international hockey, but just in sports in general in the past couple years, past couple decades, I should say. Of course, with Canada and the U.S., the outside noise, I'll just leave it at that. But Canada, like they did 15 years ago in Vancouver during the Olympics, they defeat the United States by a score of 3-2 in overtime. Now looking at the scoring summary here, Nathan MacKinnon opened up the scoring almost 5 minutes in with a nice screened shot there, beating Connor Hellebuyck. Of course, the main storyline last night was Hellebuyck versus Bennington, and then Brady Tkachuk gets the Boston crowd roaring there, assisted by Austin Matthews. Of course, it was 1-1 after 1, and it was 2-2 after 2, with Jake Sanderson getting the lead for the United States before Sam Bennett, off of a very nice pass from Mitch Marner, beats Connor Hellebuyck with a very nice shot. And of course, in the third period, all game long, but especially in the third period and in overtime, both teams try not to make mistakes, just playing more cautiously. We saw that from Canada throughout the night, of course, not just playing cautiously, but with a little bit of nerves. But there was one person who was not nervous, and let's just roll the clip here. Connor McDavid getting the golden goal there. You can see from the fan footage there, he almost ended it right there off of a face-off dot and win. And Mitch Marner finds Connor McDavid and beats Connor Hellebuyck top corner there, giving Team Canada the win. I mean, I am still buzzing after that game, of course. Not just Team Canada, but to see Connor McDavid win it for Canada, the clutch moment from Connor McDavid at that moment, the best nation with the best sport, and beating the United States. Of course, if it was Sweden or Finland, yeah, Canada wins, but it's beating the Americans. That is always always a treat, no matter which sport, but especially in hockey. And of course, Connor McDavid after the game, lots of thoughts. Of course, the most we've heard him talk throughout the tournament. Of course, all the nerves are off of him, all the pressure with, I just couldn't believe it, really. Just excited for our group, honestly. Everyone was so dug in. It starts months and months ago with management going out and picking the team. Of course, Connor McDavid, along with a few others, named to the initial Team Canada roster in August, the coaching staff coming together, and then obviously the players doing what we do. It's been a big production, and it's just sweet to have it all come together. It's a confidence builder, knowing that we can play and we can beat anybody. That American team is as solid as you're going to find. They're solid all around, but we just found a way in a tough building to get it done. Of course, the shots on goal 33-27 in favor of the Americans, but Jordan Binnington, of course, lots of haters, myself, I'm not hating on him, just, not confident in him, but he proved everybody wrong, especially in overtime last night. Of course, hits 25-28 in favor of the Americans. Only one penalty called, but Canada able to kill that off. So, comparing to last Saturday at the Bell Center in Montreal, it was a lot cleaner as both teams sort of, ditched the whole fighting for the sake of your country part in Boston, and they were there to do business, and business was done exactly by Team Canada. As you can see, they're looking at the forwards. I didn't, see anybody that was, detrimental to Team Canada last night. I think everybody had a role in the win last night, especially on the forward side. Seth Jarvis, very unlucky, many points during the game. Of course, first period, lots of missed opportunities for Team Canada. It almost looked like he was going to come back to bite them in the end, but of course, the big time players doing big time things, especially Mitch Marner on the big stage in Boston, a place that he's known to not exactly perform very well in the big stage, in the big moments, under the bright lights, especially with the golden assist there to Mitch Martin. Of course, Sidney Crosby, one of his last hurrahs on the international level. Nathan MacKinnon with the big opening goal, and Sam Bennett, who has pretty much elevated his play throughout the entire tournament. On the defensive side, Thomas Harley coming in for Josh Morrissey, who missed the final game last night due to illness. But, Thomas Harley, much like the other American game he was in on Saturday, the only other game he played during the tournament, he was the best Canadian defenseman on the ice for the most part. Even, in my mind, outplaying Cale Makar, not significantly, but just by a slim margin there. But Thomas Harley, hopefully he's on the Team Canada roster for next year at the Olympics. But the real story here, Jordan Binnington with a .939, only two goals against. There were a flurry in front of him for both American goals. There wasn't necessarily a shot that he should have saved, but 31 saves and 4 extremely clutch saves in overtime, most of them on Austin Matthews. And even Connor McDavid had to give Jordan Binnington his flowers. He said, I heard it, time and time again, Binner's a winner. That's ultimately what it is. He's won a big game in this building before in 2019, of course, the Stanley Cup final with the St. Louis Blues, Game 7. So, of course, another Game 7 type situation for Binnington last night, and he played extremely well. So, of course, he's played in big moments. The moment doesn't get to him. It was tight all over, great players all over the ice, playing great defense. It wasn't great all night, but I thought we just stuck with it, our whole group. Benner was awesome. He made some amazing saves, especially there early in overtime, and gave us a chance to go get one. Of course, Connor McDavid joining the illustrious list of best-on-best tournament clinching overtime goals, joining his childhood hero Sidney Crosby, of course, the other best-on-best overtime goal against the Americans, and Daryl Sittler with the 1976 Canada Cup, beating Czechoslovakia in 2 straight games. Of course, Crosby and McDavid. A picture is worth 1,000 words there. You can see McDavid when he was still a youngin' with the Erie Otters in the OHL. Of course, a relatively still young Sidney Crosby. You can see there the passing of the torch for both players. That is just a special moment, and something that probably cannot be topped, of course, unless, later on down the road, McDavid with another young Canadian phenom. But folks, that is not it for international hockey until next year. 349 days until the Olympic Winter Games in Milan and Cortina in 2026. So still lots of time to sort of discuss who could possibly make Team Canada. I know Connor McDavid will, but you can see other players last night, not just on the Canadian side, but on the American side, that you can see it'll probably be very similar next year for Canada and the U.S. and multiple other countries in the Olympics. It's not just 4 nations. Of course, you got Sweden and Finland as well, but you got Leon Draisaitl in Germany. Of course, you got Slovakia, you got the Czech Republic. So lots of excitement on the international stage, but 349 days until the Olympics, but only one more day until we see Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers finally back on the ice. Yes, Oilers hockey, folks, is back as the Oilers begin, a death run of the Eastern Conference there with 5 games on the road. And they start out with probably the easiest one there against the Philadelphia Flyers at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. So a very early one. You can, have breakfast and watch hockey at the same time as Edmonton takes on Philadelphia. Of course, a rematch of the 1985 and 87 Stanley Cup Finals there. But, McDavid and Tortorella both on the same flight heading back to Philadelphia, which is kind of a funny thought. But we got some big news here from Bob Stauffer. Stuart Skinner starts tomorrow for the Oilers, but Matt Savoy will play, according to Kris Knoblauch. And, of course, Kris Knoblauch was asked if Savoy can make an impact right away here on the Edmonton Oilers. Of course, lots of pressure on Matt Savoy, the Oilers' top prospect, making his Oiler debut. And he said, absolutely, he's an offensive player, but his defensive details will be very important. It's not just about scoring goals. If he can help contribute some offense, that's great. And I think with his mind and his abilities, can he do that at the NHL level right now? We will find that out. And just taking a look at the projected starting lineup for the Oilers tomorrow. Of course, nothing will be confirmed until, the warm-ups, I should say, before the game, when both teams take their skate, and you can see the final lineup changes with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Connor McDavid, with Zach Hyman, Matt Savoy on the left side with Leon Draisaitl and Vasily Podkolzin. Normally Podkolzin is on Draisaitl's left, but for now he is on the right side, and then Jeff Skinner, Matisse Yamark, and Corey Perry, and then Victor Arvidsson making his return from Team Sweden for the Four Nations Faceoff alongside Adam Henrique in Connor Brown. Of course, Mattias Ekholm also returning from Team Sweden alongside Evan Bouchard, Darnell Nurse, and John Klingberg. And then Brett Kulak and Ty Emerson with Stuart Skinner between the pipes, like I mentioned, from Bob Stoff. And of course, you can see, McDavid not wanting to take a single day off after the tournament, of course, the deciding the golden goal for Team Canada, but he's got his eyes on the prize, the Stanley Cup. And Kris Knoblauch mentioned his workhorse ability there. He says Connor never wants to take any time off. He's always wanting to play. He always wants to be with his team. He's always contributing, whether that's a game or giving me an option on a practice. I've given him many options to take a break, saying, hey, maybe the minutes were high last night. Maybe you're better off to not practice the next day. But he's always wanted to be part of the team and not take time off. Now that is my captain, folks, and I'm so excited for not just the Team Canada win, huge win, but also Oilers hockey is back as we are on the home stretch here before the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now that is it for today's video. Let me know down in the comments just your general thoughts on the Four Nations Faceoff. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did your feelings change over time about the tournament? I'm interested to see what you thought about the whole thing, the whole shebang there. The buzz regarding the tournament, not just on the ice, but also in the world news, to say the least. But of course, I liked it. I mean, I was excited from the start. Of course, it wasn't just going to be an all-star game when national pride is on the line. The game looks a lot different. But again, that is it for today's video. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button for any and all Oiler news, and we will be back with a recap tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully it's an Oilers win and we can play La Bamba. But take care, everybody. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you tomorrow. Let's go Oilers. Haven't said that in a long time. Take care.